What happens when Dragon's parachutes fail at 30,000 feet? Death, right? Wrong. SpaceX just revealed their secret weapon that NASA never saw coming. 8 hidden Super Draco engines, each packing 16,000 pounds of raw thrust, ready to fire up and land this capsule like a rocket-powered helicopter. While Boeing's Starliner can't even reach orbit, Elon's team has been quietly perfecting this insane backup system for over a decade, the same technology originally built for Mars missions. NASA engineers were completely stunned when they witnessed Dragon C-213 demonstrate this capability. We're talking about the first spacecraft in history that can save astronauts even when everything goes catastrophically wrong. This changes everything. Let's dive right in. But this backup landing system wasn't born from some engineering brainstorm session. It emerged from a terrifying reality that SpaceX desperately tried to hide. On May 22, 2024, something went catastrophically wrong. A resort worker in North Carolina stumbled upon twisted metal debris, pieces that experts later confirmed came from Dragon's trunk section, the same trunk that was supposed to burn up completely during re-entry. What SpaceX discovered next sent shockwaves through NASA's safety committee. When Dragon separates from its trunk at 100,000 feet, that massive section is built so tough that chunks were surviving the atmospheric furnace and crashing back to Earth. Half a mile from a popular hiking trail, half a mile from potential casualties. Sarah Walker, SpaceX's Dragon director, admitted the terrifying truth. We've been landing debris in populated areas for 5 years. Think about that. Every single Dragon mission since 2019 has been playing Russian roulette with people's lives. Here's where the story takes its first major twist. Instead of fixing the trunk design immediately, SpaceX made a desperate decision that stunned NASA engineers. They secretly moved all Dragon landings from the Atlantic to the Pacific, aiming debris toward Point Nemo, the spacecraft graveyard. But why Point Nemo? This remote location is literally the farthest point from any human civilization on Earth, more isolated than the International Space Station orbiting overhead. When Crew 10 launched in March 2025, SpaceX was essentially admitting their spacecraft was still dropping dangerous debris. They were just hoping to hit empty ocean instead of populated cities. Yet this solution revealed something even more disturbing. If Dragon's trunk is tough enough to survive atmospheric re-entry at thousands of degrees, what happens when the entire capsule faces the same forces? What if those parachutes fail when 7 astronauts are screaming toward Earth at terminal velocity? This is where SpaceX's true genius emerges, and why NASA engineers were left speechless. Those 8 Super Draco engines weren't some last-minute safety addition. They've been hiding in Dragon's belly for over a decade, originally designed for something far more ambitious. Landing on Mars, each Super Draco produces 16,000 pounds of thrust. To put that in perspective, that's 178 times more powerful than Dragon's tiny maneuvering thrusters. These aren't gentle course correction rockets. These are controlled explosions capable of stopping a 13,000-pound capsule falling at 120 miles per hour. The technology is called hypergolic ignition. When the fuel and oxidizer touch, they explode instantly. No spark plugs, no ignition systems, no delays. Pure instantaneous power when astronauts' lives hang in the balance. But here's the mind-bending part. SpaceX originally planned to use only these engines for landing. No parachutes at all. Red Dragon was supposed to change everything. SpaceX's plan to land cargo on Mars using pure rocket power. Mars's thin atmosphere makes parachutes virtually useless, so propulsive landing was the only option. They spent years perfecting this technology, running countless tests, proving that Dragon could land anywhere in the solar system. Then suddenly, in 2017, Elon Musk killed the entire Red Dragon program. The official reason? Starship would be better for Mars missions. But sources inside SpaceX reveal the real story. NASA was terrified of propulsive landing for crew missions. They demanded parachutes as the primary system, relegating those powerful Super Dracos to emergency backup only. What NASA didn't realize is that this compromise created the most advanced spacecraft safety system ever built. A spacecraft that can literally save itself when everything goes wrong. While SpaceX was secretly developing this game-changing technology, their biggest competitor was hemorrhaging money and credibility. Boeing received $4.2 billion from NASA, $1.6 billion more than SpaceX got. Their executives openly mocked Dragon's flashy reveals, calling them smoke and lights, no substance. John Elburn, Boeing's commercial crew chief, laughed at SpaceX for only launching a few rockets per year. Fast forward to 2025, and Boeing has reported over $2 billion in additional losses on Starliner. Their first test flight in 2019, complete failure. Their spacecraft couldn't even reach the space station due to software errors. Meanwhile, SpaceX has completed 11 successful crewed missions. When Boeing's astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore got stranded on the ISS due to Starliner's propulsion problems, who did NASA call for rescue? SpaceX, the same company Boeing thought was all flash and no substance. But the most revealing detail about Dragon's superiority isn't the rocket engines or touchscreens. It's something far more basic. Dragon has a toilet. Starliner doesn't. Soyuz doesn't even have one. Astronauts on those spacecraft literally wear diapers for the entire journey to space. Doug Hurley, who commanded the first Dragon crew mission, confirmed the toilet worked very well during their flight. The system uses vacuum suction to handle waste in zero gravity, just like the old space shuttles. But here's what makes this detail so important. It reveals SpaceX's obsession with crew comfort and dignity. While other companies focused on meeting minimum safety requirements, SpaceX was thinking about the human experience. 7 ergonomic seats that adjust to each astronaut's body, built-in life support connections, 3 massive touch screens replacing hundreds of switches and gauges, even a glass cupola dome for spacewalking tourists to gaze at Earth during orbital flights. Yet behind all this innovation lies a story of financial desperation that almost killed Dragon before it ever flew. That $2.6 billion NASA contract? It wasn't enough. SpaceX had to pour an additional $500 million of their own money into Dragon's development, pushing the company to the brink of bankruptcy. NASA's strict requirements for the first private crew spacecraft meant extra testing, extra delays, extra costs, pressure vessel leak checks, life support evaluations, proving the capsule could float safely after ocean splashdown. Every additional requirement drove costs higher, while Boeing got extra funding to keep Starliner on schedule. The irony is devastating. NASA's tough love approach, their refusal to give SpaceX extra money, their demanding safety standards. This pressure forged Dragon into the most reliable spacecraft ever built. Meanwhile, Boeing's generous treatment led to complacency, delays, and repeated failures. Now, all this technology is culminating in Dragon C213, the 5th and final Crew Dragon ever to be built. This capsule debuts the upgraded Super Draco propulsive landing system, potentially flying as soon as next month on Axiom Mission 4. But here's the twist that changes everything. SpaceX is pushing NASA to certify each Dragon capsule for 15 flights instead of the current 5. That means Dragon C213 could potentially carry 105 astronauts to space over its lifetime. More than the entire Apollo program, more than the Space Shuttle program, from a single reusable spacecraft. The question that's driving NASA engineers crazy: if Dragon is this capable, this reliable, this advanced, what exactly is SpaceX planning next? So here's what we've uncovered today. SpaceX didn't just build a backup landing system. They built the future of space travel. Those 8 Super Draco engines represent something far bigger than emergency protocols. They're proof that when you push boundaries, when you refuse to accept good enough, you create technology that changes everything. Boeing got more money, more time, more support, and delivered failure. SpaceX got pressure, skepticism, and financial strain, and delivered miracles. That's not luck. That's what happens when survival depends on innovation. But Dragon C213 raises the ultimate question. If SpaceX can build spacecraft this advanced with limited resources, what are they capable of with unlimited ambition? Because while we're celebrating Dragon's success, Elon's team is already building something that makes this look primitive. The real story isn't what SpaceX has accomplished. It's what they're planning next. And trust me, you're not ready for what's coming. What do you think SpaceX's next breakthrough will completely revolutionize. Let me know in the comments and make sure you're subscribed to Space Corps because the space race is just getting started. Two engines are a disaster. They stripped away safety systems, and now engines are catching fire. Fuel lines are cracking. Two ships, gone. But here's the bombshell. Elon vanished from Starbase right when his team needed him most. Morale collapsed. Engineers burned out. Ship 35 is getting tested for the third time because nothing's working. Flight 9 isn't just another launch. It's SpaceX's last chance to prove they didn't just build a $3 billion explosion machine. The real question? Can they fix this engine nightmare before everything falls apart? Let's dive right in. Right now, as we speak, Ship 35 is undergoing its third round of static fire testing. Let that sink in for a moment. Most starships get one test, maybe two if they're lucky. But 3 tests? That's not optimization. That's desperation. Here's what really happened. First test looked promising. Single engine burn, clean. 6 engine burn, successful. Every engineer at Starbase thought they'd nailed it. Then came the second test, and that's when everything fell apart. One of the vacuum engines didn't just fail, it failed spectacularly. We're talking complete catastrophic failure that forced SpaceX to do something they hate doing, admit defeat. Ship 35 got hauled back to Mega Bay 2. Engineers ripped out the damaged engine like surgeons removing a tumor. Started over from scratch. But here's what should terrify you. This isn't just bad luck. This is a pattern. Booster B-14, already positioned at the launch pad, ready to make history, had to make the walk of shame back to the production facility. Think about that image. A massive rocket, tens of millions of dollars of engineering, sitting pretty at the launch pad. And SpaceX says, nope, bring it back. The rumor mill is spinning wild theories. Engine problems, grid fin issues, hot staging ring failures. But the real question nobody's asking is this. Why are these problems happening now? Why are SpaceX's most experienced engineers, the same team that landed boosters on drone ships, suddenly struggling with basic rocket reliability? The answer will shock you. SpaceX made a bet, a huge bet, and it's blowing up in their faces. Here's the deal. To make Starship 5 lighter and more efficient, they did something that would make any safety engineer have nightmares. They stripped away critical engine protection systems. Imagine removing the airbags from a Formula One car to save weight. Sure, you'll go faster. But when you crash, and you will crash, there's nothing to save you. Flight 8 showed us exactly what happens when you remove those safety nets. A vacuum engine literally caught fire. Not a controlled burn, not a planned shutdown. An actual, uncontrolled, catastrophic fire that painted the sky with destruction. The engine burned like a Roman candle as Ship 30 tumbled toward Earth. But here's what SpaceX didn't expect. Something called harmonic response, and it's the silent killer that's been stalking every V2 flight. Picture this scenario. You're at a fancy restaurant. The opera singer hits that perfect high note. The wine glass on your table starts vibrating, then crack. It shatters into 1,000 pieces. That's harmonic response. The right frequency, at the right time, can destroy anything. Now imagine that happening inside a rocket engine, at 17,000 miles per hour, in the vacuum of space. The new V2 engine configuration creates vibrations that travel through the rocket like deadly music. Fuel lines start cracking, seals begin failing. Components that should last for entire missions are breaking apart in minutes. It's like tuning a guitar string too tight. Everything sounds perfect, until snap. The string breaks and ruins the entire performance. But here's the terrifying part. This isn't just theory. Multiple sources inside SpaceX confirm that both Ship 28 and Ship 30 failed due to these resonance issues. 2 consecutive failures, millions of dollars lost. Years of progress wasted, all because vibrations are tearing apart rockets from the inside out. And now Ship 35, the rocket that's supposed to save SpaceX's reputation, is facing the exact same demons. But the story gets worse. While SpaceX engineers are pulling 16-hour days trying to fix these technical nightmares, their biggest source of inspiration has been nowhere to be found. Elon Musk, the man who built SpaceX's culture of impossible dreams and rapid iteration. The guy who used to sleep on the factory floor during crunch time. The leader who turned rockets